Welcome to the fourth installment in Force Powers Explained. Today, we're covering Force Drain. We've seen Jedi use the Force to heal others, and themselves. But how do the Sith accomplish this? To fuel oneself through the dark side of the Force with the use of draining techniques is to sap out the life force from a living being, and pour it into another. Its teachings stemming from Celestial the Blasphemer, as Darth Bane discovered from Darth Revan's holocron. Force Drain is described in the Book of the Sith as a delicate procedure, and difficult to use in live combat. When Force Drain is in use, the energy that is transferred from the target to the practitioner will allow the user to feel an amount of strength through the absorbed energy. It is often used by its practitioners to revitalize themselves after battle, by feeding off any scraps of energy left over from dead enemies. In addition, it can be used in such a way that the energy absorbed can be used to overcome or stave off the effects of illness, or other potentially life-threatening conditions, such as injuries, poisons, etc. During the novel Path of Destruction, Darth Bane would kill a man and his 3 sons to award him enough strength to continue searching for a vital cure for a lethal poison coursing through his system that he had been tricked into consuming by Githany. Sometimes, the amount of energy transferred can be enough to last for a staggering amount of time. Within the Tales of the Jedi comic series, when Axar Kun's hidden fortress on Yavin 4 had been found by the Jedi forces, Kun began a dark side ritual that allowed him to drain the life force of hundreds of Massassi, providing him with enough energy for his spirit to live on for 4,000 years, before finally being destroyed once and for all by Luke Skywalker's students within his new Jedi Praxium. By extension, the draining of a mass amount of victims didn't just have the ability to kill mere hundreds, but instead, by those who were powerful enough, could wipe out entire planets of their life force, which speaks volumes to only some of the scale and distance that those with high enough power and skill with the ability could achieve. Emperor Vitiate, later known as Valkorion, would feed on Revan's energy despite the two being parsecs away from each other. Plus, Darth Nihilus' addiction for fueling himself through drain energy was so great that he effectively drained Darth Traya of her powers, and was considered to potentially having the ability to consume all life force in the galaxy if he were not eventually stopped.
And he cares nothing for the Sith, or its teachings, or the Jedi. And when the Jedi are dead, he will feed on the galaxy, the Republic, and eventually consume the Sith as well.
Another application that was typically used on a larger scale is recognized as the death field. This use of one's physical hostility or animus is considered to be a concentration of darkside energy that takes the form of a sphere. Whilst this power is active, any living creature that enters will wither away into but a dry husk, essentially increasing the aging process at a rapid rate. A good visual example of what this power may look like on screen can be seen in Emperor Valkorion's draining of the entire population of Ziost. However, the death field is not only incredibly dangerous to outsiders, but to the user as well. When Darth Bane used this ability to kill a group of Darkside cultists, he had to draw upon the Darkside energy from Darth Nderu's keep to aid in his ability to sustain the destructive sphere, lest he become completely exhausted otherwise. As he would say within his entry in the Book of the Sith, it is sustained by your will, but it will try to consume you as well. While life force is the most commonly drained source of energy by force drain practitioners, there are other forms of energy that can on occasion be used as a source of power, as they fuel the dark side and can create a temporary nexus of power for the user to feed on. One of such is the negative emotions of people, such as hate, fear, anguish, etc. To draw on this type of energy is referred to as consume essence. Darth Krayt would use this in response to the fear projected by the Mon Calamari after ordering a mass genocide on the planet, which also allowed him to lessen the effects of his terminal illness. During Darth Maul's first battle with Obi-Wan Kenobi, the latter would later describe in a report that Maul would use Kenobi's anger, aiding in his ability to combat his opponent. It is possible that this was achieved since Obi-Wan was enraged at Qui-Gon's death, and as a result, the immense hatred pouring off the young man would likely manifested a small darkside aura, which darksiders love to draw on. Within the second installment of Jedi Knight Dark Forces, the Jedi Master Qel-Droma would describe Inquisitor Jarek as possessing the ability to simultaneously overshadow one's connection to the Force, making it harder for them to call upon its power, and absorb theirs at the same time.
His heavy brow overshadows the empty recesses that normally embrace eyes. Jarek has the uncanny power to absorb and overshadow one's connection to the Force, like a dark cloud. A deep, empowering grasp of your will is what you need.
The last manner in which the Force may drain one's life away comes not from one's usage of the power to be inflicted on another, but rather the Force signatures of specific areas. Some of you may have heard Jedi or Sith say that specific areas are strong in the Force.
That place is strong. The dark side of the Force. A domain of evil it is.
These are known as Force Nexuses. A dark side nexus, as you might expect, amplifies the power of any darksider in its presence. However, when a dedicated lightsider steps foot upon such a nexus, the dark energies begin to rapidly drain away their Force reserves. Within the novel, Star Wars: The Clone Wars Wild Space, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Bail Organa embarked on a mission to investigate an ancient Sith temple. But once they crash land on the planet of Zagula, the dark energies weaken Kenobi the closer he gets to the temple. And finally, there are a few ways to resist the effects of Force drain. The first is one that I suspect virtually all KOTOR fans to be familiar with. Those that are considered wounds in the Force, such as Mitra Surik, are impervious to drain's effects because of their broken Force signature. The other way to resist is referred to simply as drain resistance. Those with a high enough understanding of Force drain's application can use their power to block out the effects of its power. In the Clone Wars video game of 2002, Qel-Droma's holocron would teach Anakin Skywalker how to resist the effects of the Force Harvester, an ancient energy-draining machine that had the ability to suck the life out of civilizations.
Qel-Droma, you defeated the Dark Reaper during the Sith War. Show me how to stop it again.
Yes, I can teach you to harness the power of the Force around you, making you immune to the Dark Reaper's effect for a short time.
Revan was also noted as possessing the power and will to both feed on and resist the powers of Sith forces during his time on Malachor 5. Of course, to use this defensive application with success, the respective user needs to possess a comparable level of power to their opposition, lest they be overtaken by the absorbing effects of their enemy's superior potency. So in conclusion, Force drain is an indefinitely insidious use of the dark side that can provide a significant boost of energy to its practitioners, at a devastating cost for those unfortunate enough to be on the receiving end of its power, and the various other applications only add further reason to be terrified of the dark side's destructive nature. Some Force users within the Star Wars mythos that are known to possess a strong grasp of Force drain include the Sith Emperor Valkorion, the Sith Ari of legend Darth Bane, the treacherous Darth Traya, the Force entity and bringer of chaos Abeloth, and of course, the Lord of Hunger, Darth Nihilus. Well, thank you all once again for joining me in the exploration of Force powers. As always, feel free to leave any thoughts and questions you may have, and join me in the next installment when we'll be covering the energy-based powers of Star Wars, such as lightning and Tutaminis. Until then, goodbye, and may the Force be with you.